Ben on the field at US Bank Stadium. Vikings lose to the Ravens 13-3 in a preseason game that could not have felt more preseason-y. But I think the headline is going to be, if you, Ben, were someone who was hoping that this game would calm the backup QB chatter, the subsequent performances did not do you any favors.
No, it really didn't. Let's just go on record and say that let's never talk about this preseason game ever again after you and I talk. We were even saying on the broadcast, we're like, this is a really kind of slow, boring game. Not a lot of big plays, which leads me into basically the biggest play of the day for the offense, and that was the 50-50 ball that Ty Felton came down with from the arm of JJ McCarthy, which was a great play. I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due. It was a great play by JJ. He felt the pressure. He did a little side shimmy there, climbs up in the pocket, and delivers the ball down the field. And it's beneficial in a couple of ways because Ty Felton, I think, after dropping that back shoulder play last week, really needed to come down with that football to sort of redeem himself. But then you see what happens as they get into the low red zone area where on fourth down, JJ misses a wide open Miles Price. And really, to me, that's the play that's going to haunt him through this whole evaluation for this one particular game. Um, I thought he had some decent plays. I thought he showed a level of read progression that he really hasn't shown, certainly didn't show last week. I thought he did a really good job when he was given time of scanning the field and sometimes going back to the primary read. It's just throwing the ball with some touch is a continual issue with him.
Yeah, the optics aren't good. I think that's you kind of said it last week. A lot of people were on him, and ultimately there were a lot of things going on that contributed to that. And I think there were some really good things today. But when you start your first drive and you miss a throw, and then you have a false start, and it feels erratic, and then you have a big play, but then you get down, and it wasn't just the Miles throw, the Ty Felton one. It was the same thing. It was hard and hot, and ultimately, no matter how many good things you do, the optics on those two throws in the end zone are going to create an uphill battle in the conversation. Now, no one in the locker room, they don't care about the conversations, right? But it just, again, it did not feel like watching at home a smooth operation. And then by contrast, even though it wasn't anything spectacular, when Carson Wentz came in, 9 of 11, things kind of moved the way they felt like nothing special, but also you didn't feel this kind of bipolar aspect that you felt in the first quarter.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to use this word. It sounds very harsh, but that's the way it feels when McCarthy's on the field, especially when he's sensing a blitz or some pressure. There feels like through body language and mechanics that there's panic going on. There's a manic nature to the way that he processes what he's feeling around him. And then I think sometimes he's very unsettled when he's throwing the football. You contrast that with Carson Wentz, who's much more experienced. There's a smoothness to the way that he sees some of that stuff. He notices that there's a blitz, but you don't see that manic, panicked behavior from him. And the ball comes out a little bit smoother, comes out with a little bit more touch. We see him in the moments using that a toolbox of the type of throws that he's able to make. He threw a 50-50 ball down the middle of the field as well, where he intentionally puts a lot of loft on the ball. And then a couple plays later, he senses some pressure and he's got to dump it off out into the right flat. And then he sort of sidearms it and uses that tool in his toolbox to get the ball out. So making sure that he doesn't get a hand on the ball as well. So in the mode of operation, there just seems to be a lot more smoothness with Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will. There are a lot of things that went into what we saw today, but I just think we're at the point, and we're gonna have one more game to see it. Carson Wentz has been around a long time, so you can say that. But if JJ is the backup quarterback, which he is, you're just going to need to see that at some point, even if things aren't go. Because fairness to him, they were in the backfield through our O line, that second group, all day long, right? But they were for Carson too. And so we are going to have to, I think, see that smooth operation that you've been talking about at some point. And there's one opportunity left. So I'm not trying to heap a bunch of pressure on a preseason game moving forward, given how preseason-y this one felt. But those opportunities are limited, and I think that's what everybody is hoping to see. And like I said, you know, whether it's fair or not, the optics of today, they're not they're not going to lead to great conversations from a noise standpoint. Now, if we switch to the other side of the ball, defense, there is going to be some good stuff over there because let's start with our young defensive tackles who seem to me like they took a step back the right direction today.
Yeah, I think so too. A lot of coaches say that, especially in the preseason with these rookies, the biggest improvement comes from game one to game two. And I think with Caleb Banks knowing who he is and finding out who he is and what makes him tick, he's very hard on himself. He self-evaluates himself very critically. And it sounds like he took his own coaching along with what the coaches told him and implemented that today. I thought his hand usage was so much better. We were talking about last week, he was late with his recognition. He was getting double teamed. He was getting pushed back off the line of scrimmage. He just wasn't using his God-given talents, which is a really strong upper body. He's got tremendous length. And he can really move more. I mean, he's got this raw ability to move in space for such a big human being. And I thought today he had better awareness. He knew and understood where the blocks were coming from. They did move him around that defensive front a little bit more to give the offense a couple different looks as well. He had a couple plays where he was able to like engage and be the first to punch, and then because of that, he would stalemate the offensive lineman. And then he was able to use those long arms to gain that separation, disengage, and get involved in the play. He did that so much more natural today, which I thought was great. And then Big Citrus continues to show that he has a rare burst for his size as well. And then how about the fact that we see the big dude? We see Big Citrus dropping in coverage as well. I mean, that is again the evolution of B-Flow's defense is you're gonna have to drop in some of these zone blitzes and go into coverage and play in space. And so it was great that we saw him in that role as he continues his development along the defensive front.
Can you imagine back in your day if the defensive coordinator would have came into a meeting and pitched, guys, on this play, we're going to drop Pat Williams back into coverage.
Well, I mean, I got to be honest, we did a couple times.
Okay. Then I don't
There
know what I'm talking about. Then I
there
don't know
was
what that seems crazy.
I know. It's used so rarely in the system that I played in that I think it did catch the offenses off guard.
Yeah.
In this system, though, you are going to see the defensive lineman drop out a lot more.
I just at that position it's from a football somebody who doesn't know the depths, it's shocking and fun to see. Hey, how real is this Jacob Thomas stuff? Man, like it's interception in the first game, splashes again today, 6 tackles, a pass breakup, and a huge hit over the middle that got taken back because of the penalty. But is this a guy that could really climb here, or is this just a preseason guy that's making his name against guys who will be bagging groceries in a week or two?
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. If there's one position where I think on this team that one of these backup reserve, lower on the depth chart guys can actually make the final 53, it's at that safety spot. Um, Jacoby, our actual draft pick, has been banged up, and so it's given these guys an opportunity at the safety spot to really kind of make up some ground and show that these coaches that hey, you can trust me and I can make some plays here. And I feel like he's doing a tremendous job of that. I mean, he is just showing he's showing up all over the field. it seems like he can handle a big workload and asking a lot out of him. I'm really impressed what he's been able to do. And then you also get the other Jacob Roberts in there, and he's shown that he has tremendous twitch. He has a really good understanding of just natural instincts and where to fit against the run, understand how to attack the line of scrimmage. Maybe haven't seen him as maybe as skilled of a inside blitzer as we've seen some of the actual starters, but he's making a great case to make this team as well as a linebacker. So I don't know. It's going to get really competitive. It's a great problem to have, and it's going to be unfortunate that we can't keep them all.
Speaking of linebackers, this is interesting to me. Like, there's so many places our attention has been diverted in this preseason with the rise of Chuck Demings and how important. But you and I started way back when we started this show. One of our first things we talked about was Jake Golday, right?
Yeah,
I find it interesting that we entered camp going, I wonder what they'll do with him. And that has progressed so far to the point that what he did today isn't even on the tips of people's tongues. He played inside, he played edge. He had 5 tackles, he was all over the field. This guy is looking more like someone who is going to give you stuff early that's important than I think anyone anticipated. And it's fascinating that we're just expecting it now.
it is interesting. I mean, we focus so much on our defensive front, rightfully so. I mean, they could fundamentally change the way our defense looks for the next couple of years. Um, and Jake Golday, he gets talked about a little bit. He'll make a few plays here and there, and then he just kind of slides back under the radar. And I'm glad that you brought him up because I certainly noticed him blitzing off the edge, being an edge rusher and bringing some pressure with his athleticism. And then I know this is not a huge thing, but it's a small thing that he's got that chase ability in the pass game where a ball's dropped in the flat or down the field, and he has the speed to catch up to these guys and bring them down from behind. So his pursuit speed is actually there as well. Um, the guy's showcasing a lot. He certainly is going to be on the field. I think the biggest question is at what position is he going to be Van Ginkel's true backup, or is he going to be a backup to the inside as well? Ivan Pace, I'll even throw in there as well. He had a really nice game to start. He's a guy that probably is competing against like a guy like Jake Golday. So again, just like the safety positions, this inside linebacker position is gonna be really hot.
Anything else that we need to know that you saw before we call it?
The sexiest thing to talk about right now is the punter conversation. Boy, I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna decide this, but I thought both punters played really well today.
Uh, Johnny Hecker, when he walked by us at joint practices, why is he's so big? He's enormous. Are all punters huge and I've just never been by one before? He's a
So
giant man.
yeah, I think that's the rare exception. I mean, he's kind of a specimen,
It's just
which I guess
ridiculous.
it gives you it makes you understand why he's been able to make it in the league for so long
Yeah.
because he's a big dude that's flexible and he can use that big body to punt that ball. So I don't know, man. It's either him or the rookie, and we're gonna find out here soon.
It is and we'll get into this before the season starts, but it is the big X factor that literally no one has talked about because there are so many storylines. The great Bill Belichick thing, they were always good at special teams, always. And I have no idea what the special teams are going to look like when all this is said and done. So that's something we can get into another day. But good job, man. Good job on the broadcast.
Yeah, thanks, man. I kind of feel bad for you that you had to watch the whole game. That was not a real exciting preseason game to watch, but there you are, doing the dirty work there, Cy.
Yep, I definitely watched the whole game.